So hello everyone, we are back with E-Lapidar. It's a webinar sessions. For those who are meeting us for the first time, E-Lapidar is a calendar of webinars in which we address the main challenges and solutions to the jewelry and watchmaking industry, mainly focused on the pandemic context and its important changes in the market dynamics globally. These editions, as we called it, foreign markets, will focus on how to approach markets in this post-pandemic context, and let's hope it's really post-pandemic. And we will start with a classic in the jewelry. It is the Italian market. Moderating this section, we have with us Margarida Brito Paes, who's wearing these beautiful earrings. They are for sure Portuguese. And she's a fashion journalist and the founder of a new project which is called Pano Cru. You should visit and support the project. Is really, really interesting. And it is a platform that aims to disseminate articles of reflection and interviews with key players in fashion. First of all, I would like to thank you to our speakers for having so readily accepted our invitation. It was really, really incredible talking to you. And I'm sure it will be super interesting sharing your thoughts with us. One word to Eduardo Sotomora, AICEP Director in Milan, Marco Carniello, General Manager of VicenzaOro, and Maximilian Lins, Communication, Marketing, and Consultant, and also a strategist. I would also like to thank Margarida for accepting this challenge. It's been quite a ride of working together. And okay, I will now let our journey to Italy. Margarida, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to thank AORP for this invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I'm sure that will be a great conversation with these amazing speakers. So let's start this first E-Lapidar from 2021. At a time when international fairs have been postponed or cancelled, AORP seeks, with the support of the Agency for Investment and Fair Trade of Portugal, AICEP, to guide the industry regarding opportunities in foreign markets. With national and international speakers, the E-Lapidar sessions will address opportunities in Italian, German, and Asian markets, sharing best practices and inputs from various experts. This first section will be focused on Italian markets. These markets, which has been gained significant importance for Portugal, was strongly affected by the pandemic. In these challenging conditions, Portuguese jewelry seeks to continue to take the Made in Portugal brand to Italy to make known the Portuguese legacy in the largest international fair in Europe, in one of the most important worldwide, VicenzaOro. For this series, you have a great honor to have AICEP on board. And in that matter, I start by presenting and thanking the presence of Eduardo Sotomora, AICEP Director of AICEP Director in Milan, that will share with us his local vision of the main challenges and opportunities that companies can find on Italian markets this year, because you are experiencing a change in a business that will have long-term repercussions. I will also have a pleasure to introduce Marco Carniello, General Manager of VicenzaOro, and we are very excited to have with us Maximilian Lins, Communication, Marketing Consultant and Strategist, And I would like to thank you for your availability and your enthusiasm in accepting our invitation, which honors us so much. So, our panel will be chaired by several guests, and in that sense, to ensure that the conversation flows in an organized way, I will introduce the teams, and I will pass the word among the guests, but feel free to intervene whenever you consider necessary. At the end, we will answer some questions that were asked in the registration form, okay? So let's start with Eduardo. We start with Eduardo Sotomora, AICEP Director in Milan, as I said before. Eduardo, thank you very much to be here with us. As we know, Italy was the first epicenter of COVID-19 in Europe and one of the countries in this area most affected by the pandemic. The development of the economy and society suffered an extreme slowdown, and all productive sectors experienced a sudden shock in the production of goods and services and consequently in the labor market. Eduardo Sotomora will explain us in detail how the pandemic impacts Italy and especially the fashion sector.
Thank you, Margarida. You hear me? I hope so. Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Eduardo Sotomora, and I'm the director for Italy of AICEP, a Portuguese governmental agency for investment and foreign trade based in Milan. And at the same time, I'm the economic and the commercial counselor to the Portuguese embassy in Italy. Let me start for thanking Associação de Orivesaria e Relojoaria Portuguesa for the invitation to participate in this webinar. As you said, Italy was the first European country to be hit brutally by the pandemic and to close the country and its economic activity for about 2.5 months in the year 2020, 1 year ago, over 1 year ago. The pandemic has shown the world how fragile a globalization model is based on a high dependence on one country as a supplier to many sectors of activity. So a reduction in economic interdependency between China and the rest of the world will necessarily be a trend that will continue. The reshoring of manufacturing activity, which was already underway even before the pandemic, is forcing many large and medium enterprises to reorganize their own supply chain. The pandemic will only accelerate the deglobalization. Among the countries most affected by the pandemic are exactly those with a central role along the value chain that has become a chain of economic contagion. USA, China, Japan, Germany, France, UK, and Italy are the countries most affected since they represent 65% of the world manufacturing production. The manufacturing industry is the most exposed, where China has a very important weight, both as a market and as a place of production for a large part of this manufacturing sector. On the other hand, pandemic has shown the world, as I said, how fragile the globalization model is, founding on a high dependence on a single country that supplies many sectors of activity. China is the third largest supplier to Italy after Germany and France. Total imports from China by Italy reach 7.5 billion euros, mainly of intermediate goods. But let's say Italy now will be the major beneficiary of the European Recovery Fund. with a total of 173 billion euros, 82 billion of which is non-refundable, and 71 billion in the form of a loan with preferential interest rates. This plan will range from reducing the country's bureaucracy and tax reform to investment in major public works, from expansion of the high-speed network, digitalization to the green economy and renewable energies. A detailed plan will be introduced to Parliament next week in Rome. Thus, after this description, we believe that the Italian market presents a great opportunity for Portuguese companies. The Italian market is important for Portuguese exports. Let me just say, in fact, data on trade between Portugal and Italy show that exports to Italy during the year 2020, during the pandemic, and already in the first 2 months of 2021, suffered less impact compared to the performance of the Portuguese exports for other major economies in the European Union. And also it's important in Italy because Italy is also the center of a trade show system, namely in the scope of fashion and design. Portugal will have to make an effort to make its products known. This reality is not well known either by Italian companies, the Portuguese production products, by Italian companies, or by the final consumer. Therefore, any initiative to promote Portuguese products, and particularly those we will talk about today, will always have the support of the AICEP delegation in Milan and the embassy. That said, it's also true that in the scope of fashion and design in recent years, there has been an effort from some Portuguese companies to make themselves known in the market, and with some results. I speak mainly in the sector of furniture, marble, footwear. But for this specific sector, we would have a great pleasure if a promotion of Portuguese jewelry were made even in this period of difficulty for all. I think that promotions at the 2 big Italian department stores in the main Italian cities that could coincide with the festive events like Mother's Day, Christmas, etc., would make some sense. I also think that, although costly, a joint initiative by several Portuguese companies in partnership with AORP, with your association, to open a showroom, even if temporary, in a prestigious location during, for example, Milan Fashion Week would be very interesting. Okay, but these ideas and others, I'm sure, will be developed throughout this session. We have among us speakers with profound knowledgeable in this sector, from whom we can only learn how to approach the market and learn the companies and myself and my office as well. So then I would, I'm not giving the floor to them because there is a moderator, but I would give the floor to the following speakers, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Eduardo. I want to ask you, what are the big challenges and opportunities in Italian markets for the Portuguese companies of jewelry?
The big show, the big fair, sorry?
The big opportunities and the big challenges of this market for the Portuguese companies.
The big, how should I put it? I mean, I think Italy is well known for its fashion and its design, and so it will always be an important place to be. And you have the big fair in Bologna that I think should be a must for the Portuguese companies who want to be known. Of course, there is this change in dates, and now I think it will be in September, but everything is a little bit on hold. At this point, there is dates for for the fair, as for the mobile for the fair. So I think that would be a great opportunity for Portuguese companies to participate in this fair. And as I said, I think a showroom with the different. I have support in other sectors with home textiles, fashion as well, some showrooms, and with during the Il Salone, the big fair of furniture, with the Portuguese design companies and furniture companies, and I think with some results. So I think maybe that would be a chance for this sector to show its potential in these big shows, of course, with support of your association.
Mm-hmm. And how can AICEP support? How kind of support is that, and how the companies can touch with AICEP?
Yeah, AICEP with always together with the association can make a project of all these, and of course it might be some funds. I cannot guarantee now, of course. Might be some funds for this for these initiatives, as long as they are, you have to be maybe integrate them on the European funds and whatever, but with the AICEP in the headquarters, the delegation, the association, I'm sure we can design some kind of project for this, as we have already done with other sectors.
Mm-hmm. I have one last question for you, Eduardo. How are the markets reacting now that we have a vaccine and the end of the pandemic is closer? How do you see the signs?
The expectations are high. Italy will start opening next Monday from the 26th, gradually. Of course, it all depends on the rollout of the vaccine plan. It looks like vaccines are gaining some speed lately. Well, I think it's the same in Portugal at this moment. So the stakes are high, and I think there's some excitement with this new departure from Monday, 26 April. Schools reopen, restaurants reopen. Okay, but then Italy is regional; it's divided by region, so some will not depart as soon as. At the same time, but the whole industrial north, which is in this case maybe fundamental, will reopen on Monday. So from Piemonte, Lombardia, fino a Veneto e Friuli, Venezia Giulia, and also La Liguria and Tuscany. The south is more problematic at this moment, but the industry and the players are both mostly in the north and central Italy.
Okay, Eduardo, thank you. I think we will have opportunity to speak a little more in the end of the presentations. Okay, so I will move to the next speaker. With a new market, as Eduardo had the opportunity to explain to us, come new opportunities and new challenges. Who can explain precisely this to us is Marco Carniello, Managing Director of VicenzaOro. One of the most important trade fairs at international level, VicenzaOro is able to attract a diverse set of international players and enables the exchanges of business contacts, partnerships, and ideas, and as consequence, the achievement of sales. Given the current conditions, the fair had to undergo a complete readaptation. Marco will explain to us how the fair do this readaptation to the actual conditions and took on a hybrid format to ensure its success. So Marco, welcome again. I know you have some presentation to us and some movies, so
Thank you so much, Margarida. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Fatima, and the association, AORP, for having me here. It's a pleasure and an honor talking to your members and the Portuguese companies. So yes, indeed, I have a presentation which will help me to go through what actually happened before the pandemic, now, and hopefully after the pandemic. So just give me 1 second, I'll share my screen. Right. Okay, so well, the agenda is very simple. I really like to get you through what we really experienced before the pandemic. How was the era before the pandemic? Because it's nice also to get again a view of what we were experiencing at that time, then what is happening now, and what's going to happen probably post-pandemic. So first of all, I'd like to, you know, for the ones they haven't been in VicenzaOro, I'd like to play this video, and let's go back to 2020. It was in January, and nothing was actually happening still in terms of virus. Here we go. So it really looks ages ago, is something we have been not experiencing in the last months, unfortunately. And what was working at that time was actually making VicenzaOro bigger and bigger. And this is what I can share with you in terms of numbers. For instance, the January show was reaching more than 35,000 visitors in the 5 or 6 days of show, with 60% of the visitors coming from abroad, from 126 countries. Obviously, the majority was coming from Italy, and 1,500 exhibitors, many also from Portugal. So it was really a really big world, a big community getting together at the same time. So, but which were the keywords at that time? Definitely business community. The biggest strength of VicenzaOro was to make all the business community getting together. it was very important to get to people inspiration of what to buy, what to sell, what was the trends going on. Then obviously VicenzaOro was and it's going to be a place to learn something new. In any industry, is important to keep learning, keep studying, keep being curious about what is changing in the world, and obviously also experience how important it is to meet people, to drink a glass of wine while dealing with your partner. And just to summarize everything, we probably can talk about opportunities. So VicenzaOro, as many of the trade fairs, is giving opportunities of many, many kind. And so just to share some other pictures, trade fairs are people business. So people meet, people talks, people understand what is going on, what to sell in the next 6 months or more. And a very important part of this kind of business, and in particular with jewelry, is the touch and feel. So how it's important to touch the jewelry, get a feeling of their weight, see the how shiny is that stone, etc. And as I also anticipated, a place to learn. In VicenzaOro, we have many occasions where people can learn something about the innovation, the new technologies, but also gems. In particular, we have the gem talks with always Rui with us, a good friend of mine, talking about the gems. So trade fairs are also great opportunities to learn. And that's why people are coming from all over the world. Even they don't have to buy at that moment, they are there to get connected and to think about what to buy maybe in the next months. But what's happened during pandemic? Let's go back to February 2020. We were just shutting down our halls after a great VicenzaOro in January. And, and suddenly came from the news from China, these news about the virus. It was February 2020. We didn't think it was coming so a massive problem towards Europe and towards Italy, but at the end finally happened. This is an image that was everywhere in the web, in the news. The people from the hospital taking care of our nation. There was one of the, as Mr. Eduardo Sutomura said, was one of the ones mostly hit by the pandemic. So what we did, at the end, trade fairs are the engine, a fulcrum of industries. So we took the responsibility to keep communication flowing, just not to be overwhelmed by the bad news were coming from the television, and we opened a big communication campaign, which was saying to all the world, "La bellezza continua," so the beauty continues. Obviously, in our 2,000 and more years of history, we did have a lot of pandemics, a lot of virus, but the beauty making never stopped. And that was our message to all the people in our industry and in all the world. So we just kept saying, look, there's no pandemic will stop, that will stop our, beauty making. And we launched in September 2020, when we had, a short window of, calm, let's say, of optimism. And we could actually organize a brand new event called Voice, which is VicenzaOro International Community event. So it was something different than the traditional VicenzaOro. Was not only a show, was yes, partly a show, but was also a summit where people were meeting to discuss the evolution of the industry, new trends, new topics, new problems. and was a communication platform. So let's say this was one of the first one of the first format really hybrid. So we had in our halls more than 300 exhibitors physically there. But what was very, very important and very new in our business was the production of new content and live streaming. So we set up 2 stages in our halls, like we were in a television studio, and we produced 40 live events, and every one of those were broadcasted in streaming on our channels, both on our website, on our YouTube channel, Facebook and Instagram accounts. We had more than 100 speakers, also from Portugal, from all over the world. We bring there all the protagonists of the worldwide jewelry industry, and we did a massive push to communicate to all the world that the jewelry world, the jewelry industry was still live and was still, producing innovation and creating new things and giving so a very positive message. And that was a very important part of our role as VicenzaOro, one of the leading trade fair in jewelry. And this is one of the pictures. You see there were people around. Obviously, it wasn't crowded, but was very nicely attended. The fittings, the booths everything was different from VicenzaOro and was very much appreciated. I also have a very short video on voice, so just to give you the idea of the optimism that we gave to the world at that time. So this was one of the new experiences we introduced in the industry last year. And then, keep going through the last month, what happened early 2021, again, a second wave with the virus, with the problems, etc. So we couldn't do physical show. We had to invent something different. We had to really keep our role as a leader in the industry, because we couldn't leave alone our exhibitors, the companies, and stop talking with our community. So we invented a new format. So again, different from the format of voice. This format was only online. We Are Jewelry is something that is getting, let's say, the inspiration from the digital fashion weeks. So using the same kind of language of the digital, of the fashion, we basically create a platform. Here you can see some pictures where exhibitors could present their collections, the new jewels, to people, to buyers from all over the world, just connected on the web, and but in a very different way. And if you allow me, I'll go quickly on the web just to show you some of the content we had. So this was the platform, so buyers could really browse and go to exhibitors, with the typical fair. But the very new thing was, being able to go on this video, which was a kind of catwalk from a fashion brand that was presenting the new collection of our exhibitors. So I just go quickly to to here. There are many. So you see from here, you can really check out the product. And if you like it from this video, you just click here. There's a go to products, and you can go directly to the home page on our platform of the exhibitor and get connected to the manufacturer, ask for a quotation, talk with them in video chat or text messaging. So this was also another very important format we introduced, which is totally new in our industry, and was very well appreciated by the buyer, because the buyers really could look at the product in a different way, because it was about how the jewelry was dressed, was worn by the models, by the people. And then having the direct connection with the manufacturer was also a very important point for the buyer, because if they love it, they could really go to the manufacturer that was waiting for get connected and got in touch. So what's going to happen in the post-pandemic area, which we hopefully is going to happen very soon. So because we confidently looking at September as the first, moment of kind of normality. So we see that there will be a powerful blend of different experiences together. And I went through all these experiences we had in the last months, because every single thing we did will contribute to form the new VicenzaOro. So VicenzaOro will not be as it was before the pandemic. It will keep the good things it had, but we'll add several things we learned in this period. Definitely the live experience. So being in Vicenza, being at the trade fair, will be enhanced. So everything will be done there lively, will be very cool, experiential, full of the elements that make worthwhile to be there physically. But it will be very much digital, especially from one trade fair to the other fair, from January to September. and it will be working 365 days a year. So every trade fair is trying to get engage the community all over the year. So every single day we will have content, we will have a reason to get people connected, to make them at the end meeting lively and physically at the show in Vicenza. So if I have to tell, to say, 2-3 things to the exhibitors, some potential exhibitors, I would say be ready to have your storytelling, because there will be communication all over the year. In any day you'll have to communicate your brand, what you're doing, your services, how you are different from everyone else. It's not going to be only about you talking lively in the booth, but you have to have your storytelling all around the year. Please be prepared with nice, high quality digital contents, because one of the typical weaknesses we find among our exhibitors is they don't have nice pictures of the product, nice pictures of what they do, even about their factory, or some pictures about how they make things. This is going to be very important, because we as trade fair, we use a lot this kind of material to promote them. And if we don't have these things, we cannot help them to convert in deals the business once they meet the client at the stage in the hall. And lastly, please don't think that trade fairs are only booths. So it's not going to be only booths, the trade fair, but the trade fair will be a platform that will help before the show and after the show, the exhibitors to get connected to the buyers, and especially VicenzaOro will keep flowing communication through newsletters, social accounts towards the buyers, explaining every single details about our exhibitors, our company. So as much as we have contents, we will use all around the year to promote the exhibitors. So it's not going to be a relationship will end only after the 5-6 days of the event. And at the end, we'll hopefully everyone want to go back to the human touch and people. So I will end up my presentation with this video we used in January 2020, when we could, and it can tell you how important is the experience once you are in a live show. So every one of us want to go back to that moment. So hopefully I see you, everyone in Vicenza. You're very welcome, as it's your house, it's your home. Next dates are September 10-14 and in January 21st, 26. If you want to have some more information or details about what we're doing, please contact myself and especially Fabrizio, who's the angel and the coach of our Portuguese clients in VicenzaOro. Thank you.
Sorry, I have a problem here. Thank you, Marco, for this amazing presentation. I would like to know, what is the big lesson that you have with this adaptation to the digital, and what you think will change after this shift to digital?
You know, the biggest lesson I get is that we have to keep listening. So listening the market, your client, the visitor is the key thing. There's no way you're gonna get the solution yourself. You can be the smartest guy in the world, but if you don't sit down in front of a screen now, but and you don't listen your community, you don't go very far. So it's listening first. Secondly, what is changing? I mean, I don't think it's gonna really change. It's just accelerating a lot of dynamics we experienced before the pandemic. So the digitization, the fact that the experience has to be first class, and all these kind of things are just accelerated. It didn't surprise us. We were pretty ready to tackle these new challenges, but we just had to speed up everything in a very uncertain context. So what is going to be changed is a natural evolution of a business which include not only the physical part, but only the digital side. And these two things will be integrated. Nothing new. We knew already. We just need to get there.
And what can we expect for 2022 with your big event at Dubai?
Yeah, well, this is actually big news because we launched 1 month ago. We believe that Dubai can have very important role in the international jewelry industry. Dubai is a perfect platform for people coming from Africa, from the Middle East, from wherever the world is. Has a beautiful platform for the hospitality. Is very well connected with the airplanes, etc. You don't need visa, so we are investing there because we think it will play a major role like the one of Hong Kong, for instance. And so that's why we are investing there, and we did with a big partner because we partnered with Informa, which is the organizer of the Hong Kong Jewelry Show, the biggest in the world. So if you take IG, so the company which is organizing VicenzaOro, which is the biggest in Europe, you take the biggest in Asia, we meet midway in Dubai, and we organize something together with the Dubai government, because our partners are the Dubai Multi-Commodity Center, the Dubai Golden Jewelry Group, so the big guys of Dubai. Together, we are launching a B2B show, very brand new, at the end of February 2022, which will be still during Expo, Dubai Expo, and that's why we feel it will be, a big push to the market, for having another new important show for the community.
And Margarida, can I interrupt you?
Yes.
Just because I'm too curious about this big new in the jewelry business around the world. And Marco, can you please share with us what is your view about this new fair or new network platform? You see it. What will happen in 2022 in Dubai is a replica of what you are doing in VicenzaOro, or is it bigger? It will be for brands and also to manufacturers. Can you guide us through this, or is it still new?
Sure. No, thanks, Fatima, for the question. So it's going to be different from VicenzaOro. VicenzaOro is a boutique
Okay.
show. We are a brand. we are following trends. We have a specific kind of a value proposition towards our visitors, our buyers. They're coming from all over the world, mainly Europe, of course, but they're coming to see the trends, to see, you know, the new stuff. Dubai will be very much like Hong Kong. So everything in the supply chain, from the technology to towards the gemstones and the jewelry, the manufacturers, the brand, the no brand, but it will be very, very big. So because it can be really the hub of that part of the world. So just think about how is Hong Kong now. The potential of Dubai, it's really to become the international hub for that kind of show.
Okay, and Margarida, let me just ask you another thing, and it's really tempting having Marco here. Can you share one of the big issues that we are crossing here in Portugal is to get exactly as you told us, to be listening our companies, but we are having some hard times to motivate everyone because, as you know, each day the news are not good. We have not enough vaccines. They are suspended. One country open, the other closes. What is the feeling that you are having from your customers, the Italian ones, but mainly the ones that are abroad? Because it's super difficult to us as an association to try to guide companies to a path, ask them to build a plan of an action, to be strategic, and then you cannot book flights, you cannot make an agenda with more than 1 month ahead. What people are talking to you and are telling how I do believe that you are really working well in this path of motivating, but what is the feeling behind the scene? Because here in Portugal we have having some troubles to put everything levels of happiness in a high level.
So it's definitely not an easy job. Just to give you an update on what's happening now, as Mr. Eduardo Sotomora was saying, we are opening again on the 26th, so next Monday. So there's a general feeling of optimism growing again. And we see also the vaccines, the doses are finally getting in Italy, so we can give it to people. So there's at the moment there's a general good feeling about the future. And another insight I'm giving to you and to the companies, to the manufacturers in Portugal, that in Italy people has been still buying and shopping jewelry during these months, because at the end, they are not traveling, they are not spending money for going to exactly, and at the end. As a self-reward, just, it's all depressive. At least I'm buying myself a little piece of jewelry or a watch. And this is actually happening, especially because when you buy jewelry, at least from our culture, but I'm sure for yours as well, you feel that in a way you are investing a little bit. So you're not buying a car, you're buying a jewelry that will stay for your life. So it's a value. So jewelry boutiques have been selling in this period, and also from the distribution side, I have a good feedback. So if you wanna try to sell to Italian wholesale, probably it's not a bad period. On the questions about how to motivate people, it's very difficult, and that's why we are always working with scenarios. We are always sharing how we see the future based on the data and the facts we see, and always we try to to share with them what to do in which scenarios, but always find something to do. Because if you are, if you stop, you're dead. And the entrepreneurs, they perfectly know they cannot be, just looking outside, watching outside of the window. So you build your scenarios, the bad, the medium, and the good one. And for each of those scenarios, you need to have a way to do something, a small thing, but you have to do something. And in this way, we found a way to involve them to do voice, to do VR, and eventually open again the great VicenzaOro.
Yeah, perfect. Margarida.
Thank you, Fatima. Your questions are great questions. So I have one last for Marco. As you said, the final consumer still buying jewelry in the pandemic, but how this shift to digital and the close of the retail have impacted the sales in the fairs?
Well, I think digital is just supporting. I mean, digital, we're coming already. This is not something that happened during pandemic. Let's say being very good in promoting your jewelry on the web is a very good way to make your jewelry selling out from shops as from the web platforms. So I think now both the producers and jewelry shops, they are much better in promoting towards consumers how nice our jewelry, which kind of offer they have, but so at the end they will keep selling a little bit more through the physical shop, but making a lot easier the sales, just because they already warm up their clients on the web. So they could, because at the end the consumers will always inform themselves through the web, but they tend to touch the jewelry, especially when you're not talking about the big brands where you just trust them and you buy what you see. But yeah, so they are all much more evolved with digital tools, both the distribution and the manufacturing side. And I think this will help the general sellout of the jewelry industry, which was a little bit lagging behind than fashion, for instance, that has been always ahead and more innovative.
Okay. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
So finally, we have with us Maximilian Lins, a communication marketing consultant strategist who also works with Studio Zeta, an international agency based in Milan that represents global fashion in the fashion industry, global brands in the fashion industry. Hello, Maximilian. Thank you for being here with us. We are quite curious to hear a buyer's perspective on this market. So what you can share with us?
So first of all, I'd like to thank you, AORP, for this very special invitation. I'm very pleased in order to be in this panel with you, sharing my know-how and my experience and the feedback I have from my clients and the people I work with. For who do not know me, I'm a consultant. I work in fashion I've been working in fashion for the past 30 years in communication field. I am responsible for opening doors for the Made in Portugal in Italy since 2005 for Portuguese fashion. And I'm also communication director for CSM, Camera Showroom Milano, which is a new association, a no-profit new association that defends the rights of the category of the based in Milan showrooms, okay, the top showrooms in Milan. And I have some things here that I would like to discuss with you. If Margarita could please again ask me the question you did before. This way I can go through the topic.
Yes, I would like to hear your perspective as buyers see the market now and how the pandemic changed the game in fashion and jewelry?
Yes, as all we know, it's a very tough moment. You know, companies are in a, how can I say, in a very difficult, are passing a very difficult period. We are very faithful. Things will be changing soon. You know, we are at least we do not have the crystal ball, but we have the feeling that things. Yes, unfortunately, but we have the feeling. You know, when you do this job for a long time, you feel this feeling, as Marco was saying before. We have the feeling, a strong feeling that things are going to improve very soon. Of course, September is, I would say, a date where things will start to move ahead. But being in backstage, we feel this energy that things are what that people want to move ahead, the company wants to move ahead. Of course, we are all very, how can I say, very afraid of any, how can I say, of doing wrong things. And of course, the listening, as Marco was saying before, is something very important for us, to get into obtaining feedbacks, and in order to take a direction on what we want to move towards, you know. And of course, my feedback is that the marketing is changed and will change. You know, this is something I mean, for granted.
And what changes are that? Is about the consumer trends? Is about how you buy, the e-commerce?
Many things. Everything will depend on budgets of people, how we're gonna be, how Europe or how the world is gonna react after this disaster of the pandemics in terms of economy, you know. Of course, very rich people, many of the very rich people will continue to be rich, but we are not sure what's going to happen. We are only going to be sure by the time we're living that moment. Of course, the market is going to change in terms of, I mean, acquisto, how can I say, the purchasing has changed. Of course, as Marco was saying before, people are not spending money to go to the restaurant or doing holidays, so they're very how can I say, excited to be buying watches and jewelry and luxury. But this buying, it's something that we do not know exactly how is the amount and how can I say, how it's gonna be, how it's gonna evolve. This is the thing. I mean, e-commerce has became more popular because of the lockdowns, of course. So people do not have the chance to be having the experience, because going into a shop to buy, it's an experience. I mean, it's you enter the shop, you try, you know. I mean, the online, you can make a pre-research online in order to get a direction, to understand what you're looking for, to have more information on what you're going to purchase. But the only experience of entering in a shop and trying something, I mean, looking and touching, it's something that, I mean, you cannot, how can I say, have this feeling with the e-commerce. This is not only my point of view, but the point of view also of the not the retail, how can I say, I mean, this is the experience of the consumer, but there is a different point of view regarding the retail. I mean, the people that buy in quantities, you know, for afterwards selling it to the consumer. You understand? For the consumer, is more easy, the approach buying by e-commerce, because they're buying one piece, two pieces. For the retailer, when they have to buy 10 pieces of one product and they are not sure if that product is going to be have a good sellout, they are afraid of this buying. So I've noticed that in the first lockdown, when we had the first lockdown in Italy last year, when shops reopened, it was around June 23rd, June 20th last year. I remember I did a research on shops. I went to boutiques in Italy, and they have no merchandising boutiques. So I was looking for a button-down blue shirt, and I could not find it because they were not prepared for this opening that time. So there is something that is for sure, is that if the retail, I mean, if the shop do not buy, they do not sell. So they need to buy, but we don't, as I was saying before, we do not have the crystal ball to understand how is gonna be the amount of these, the demand of this, of the consumer, you know. So buyers are suffering a lot because of the lockdowns. So shops have been closed, so they're not making money, and they have to pay rents, they have to pay loads of things, and they are not sure and how much they have to buy and how much they're going to sell. You understand? So it's the situation is, so this is the feedback I have from, you know, from CSM, which is Camera Showroom Milano, which are an association of the most important showroom, multi-brand showrooms based in Milan, which is Studio Zeta, Zappieri, and many others. Okay, Daniele Ghiselli. There is a board of 6 strongest showrooms, and then other more 20 associated. And this is the feedback I have from them. They are selling. I mean, the buyer, I mean, the wholesale, they want to, the wholesale, yes, the buyer, they want to buy, but they're not sure how much they're going to be selling to the consumer. So this is going to be
it's tricky.
Yes.
This is situation,
this
because
is a very, yes,
risk, but you have to buy to sell. And
brava, exactly like that. They need to buy, because if they don't buy, they don't sell. If they don't sell, they need to close. You understand? So yes, it's an
impossible situation. In fact,
this is very.
So what do you think about it? What are, in your opinion, the perspectives for the coming months with the opening on the retails? Because in fashion, what we see is, in one hand, you have some extravagant pieces, and the people want sparkling and color. And in the other hand, you had a consumer that wants a classical intemporal coat to use like 10 years because they don't have money, lost their work, and it's a very safe consumer, and you have a very extravagant consumer. So how do you think it will be in the future in fashion? But I think in jewelry we can apply the same thing, no?
Yes. So my feeling and the feedback I have is that what all of us is missing in all of us in this moment in this pandemic moment, we're missing party, we're missing marriage, we're missing, you know, occasions to be to have fun. You know, we're at home having delivery or picking up food in the restaurants, not opening champagnes, you know. So at the moment, so what is going to happen by the time we're getting closer to the end of this, to a better moment? I wouldn't say the end, because nothing is very sure yet. You know, I mean, we have, at least we are faithful we think the problem is going to be sorted by September, but we're not. Nothing is sure for the moment. But what we're looking for, and what people will be looking for, is to have fun, is to enjoy, to dress up, to buy, you know. So, but everything will depend on how much money is going to be around. You understand what I mean? For sure, people's going to, I mean, can you imagine that clubs, discotheque, the discotheque industry, or the theater, the theater industry have been closed for the past almost for 1.5 years? You understand? So people want to they want to dress up to appear or to share or to have fun in terms baptism, of marriages, of how can I say, of special moments, So for sure, they will. I mean, everything will depend. I mean, the market will evolve depending on the money that will flow around. You understand? But there are statistics on that, but nothing is sure in this moment.
One of the topics that is in the nowadays is very, very important is sustainability, and it's one of the most referred topics in all studies about consumption. The jewelry sector have a great potential in this area because jewelry is sustainable and the gold can be remake. So it's have great potential in sustainability. How do you see this relationship between sustainability and jewelry, and how can this be worked and be communicated? And do you think this is a good investment in these times of you don't know what will happen, but this looks like safer than other things?
So sustainability, we need sustainability. It is the future of our nation, of the world, of the planet Earth. So we have to move towards that for sure. Of course, speaking about sustainability is not only to be sustainable, we need to be sustainable, but it's an education. We need to educate people to become sustainable. We have two main associations fighting for that, which is Fashion Revolution, which we represent as Maximilian Lisa represents Fashion Revolution Italy, and Marina Spadafora, which is the responsible for Fashion Revolution Italy, and we have another one which is called Eco Age. These are the two main associations fighting in terms, trying to, how can I say, to create awareness in people, educating people, trying to how can I say, trying to, I wouldn't say persuade, but trying to let people know how sustainability is important for the future of our planet. You understand? And when we speak about sustainability, we speak about recycled, ethic. Sustainability is a combination of many different, elements. And of course, in jewelry, the melting. The recycling with the melting. You have many different ways of how being sustainable in the jewelry segment. Of course, what we need, all of the people that have, we are experts in our business. Every one of us, we work in the fashion business, so we have to try to, I wouldn't say convince, but to try to create an awareness. Any of us is able to create, to help to create awareness. So if we have to give a contribute to create this awareness. Any house, small or big, in the business, in jewelry or in fashion, have to give its contribute to create awareness, because many people, a lot of people in the world is still blind for this topic, and also do not have any awareness on this kind of on this argument. So it's important the contribute of every single brand in the world to try to, how can I say, to express, even in a small, to contribute even in a small part in its collection, in their collections, even a small part, invest on sustainability, you know, and speak about this word. People have to, we have, all of us, if every single person in the world have a little bit, start to have a little bit of conscious of being sustainable and contributing on that, not only with the waste we have at home, but also in the industry. Fashion industry is one of the most, how can I say, dirty industry in the world. We know that, you know, for washing, for making a pair of jeans get washed to make a color in the jeans, you spread in a not sustainable way around 200 liters of water, you know, and you can make this in a sustainable way, spending 10% of this water. So
Yes.
companies, brands, you understand, Margarida, companies, brands, you know, people, they have to start thinking.
Yes, and is a demand for the consumer. Consumer is very looking for this topic in the brand, so it's important. So let's back here to the jewelry sector.
Yes.
How does the Italian sector sees Portuguese jewelry? Do you think there is interest in producing in Portugal?
So I think there is a very strong link between Italians and Portuguese. They have something very in common, which is they have love for what they do. You understand? Portuguese people I live between Milan and Oporto, and Portuguese people have the same feeling as an Italian. They do something with heart. The bacalhau or the jewelry, or, you know, anything they do with heart, and they are proud of that. The same, and how can I say, this is something that comes from their heart. Italians do things with their heart. It's not only manufacturing without soul. You understand what I mean? They put heart on that, as the Portuguese do. So as I was saying, Portuguese and Italians, they have something very in common, which is making products with heart. And you see that in the al prodotto finito, how can I say, in the final product. So yes, in the final product. So combining, the combination between the Italian design and the manufacture, the excellent Portuguese manufacturer have a very strong is a very strong combination. Yes, it's a very strong combination.
But when you feel that when a designer think about have a jewelry line, they think in produced in Portugal, they think in made in Portugal.
Yeah,
is something that have in mind?
For the moment, I mean, if you make a research, of course, people in the business, they know how Portuguese is the advantages of working with made in Portugal. The thing is that, in my opinion, Portuguese industry in general still need to communicate. You know, communication is very important. I've just, as I was saying, I started to work with the Made in Portugal on 2015. But before that time, and I've been working in fashion for almost 30 years. But before the 2015, I didn't know all the great qualities Portuguese, the Made in Portugal, all the top qualities Made in Portugal have. So I think it's what is missing in Portugal, in the industry in Portugal at the moment, is communication. You understand? And there are many ways of communicating and showing to the world the capabilities and the high level of the Made in Portugal to the world.
Max, can I
Of course,
ask you?
Fatima.
Yeah, Max. And when you are saying that we are lacking communication, and I
Yes.
couldn't agree more. And I know that our government is working on that also on a country level. Do you think that is the same for brands and also to the manufacturers, to the ones that produce to others? They also should communicate a lot better to the brands that could make their orders to them.
Yes, I mean, when I speak about communication, I think, how can I say, the work, for example, that AORP does, is creating awareness, you know, of the jewelry made in Portugal, both into the branding part and both to the industry. You understand? This is the work, is your commitment as our showing to the world, communicating to the world with different events, participating in fairs or doing webinars and everything, is communicating to the world the possibilities that the Made in Portugal have, and to achieve more customers in terms of manufacturing and in terms of retailing. Okay, so the thing is that how can I say? I think that for many years in Portugal, the Portuguese industry have been concentrated in manufacturing and not branding. You know, branding is manufacture is getting manufactured on conto terzi, getting manufactured for other companies. You know, manufacturing in Portugal. This is one part of the business where Portugal have been focusing, and which is very easy because it's just, you know, getting orders and getting people to manufacture with no much how can I say, with no much the right word is with no much damage for its business. When we speak about the branding, you know, making a Portuguese brand famous in the world is a different thing, you know. So at the moment, I think that the level of the manufacturing communication is very ahead. The branding, in my opinion, is still have to be, I wouldn't say improved, but we still need to put more energy and to focus a little bit more to create excellent and leader jewelry made in Portugal, in the world, you know, delivered all over the world. Okay, and you have to be proud of that, because the techniques you have in Portugal are fantastic, and you still have, you know, I mean, such a, how can I say, such a very special touch in making jewelry. It's just we need more promotion. Okay. In my opinion, we just need promotion, more promotion. But I'm sure you're very close to the goals, because I mean, it's like energy. What goes around turns around. You know. So by the time by the time you evolve, your industry is going to evolve in terms of branding and in terms of companies. Your business is going to grow, and I'm sure you have excellent possibilities to be leader in this segment.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for your words and your answers to these important questions. So we now open the session to questions of our online audience. Please feel free to raise your hand on the menu icon below to ask questions, or you can write them in our chat and I will read. I have some questions from the registration form, so I will start. And I don't know, feel free to answer and complete each other's answers if you consider important, okay? So I would like to ask someone make these questions. How should the Italian market be approached?
It's to me?
Marco.
Sorry.
Max.
Okay.
Well, it's not an easy question if we don't have more elements about the kind of company, the assets, the differentiation they want to have. But if I think about manufacturers of jewelry, well, starting with VicenzaOro as part of overall strategy, which is including also some digital initiatives, will be a good start. Then we should have more elements to give a proper answer. So I would say a modern trade fair is always helpful to understand the new market, to get the first contacts, and then to at least prioritize the different options, the different initiatives you could take. So let's get in touch with VicenzaOro, and we'll help everyone.
Eduardo and Max, I don't know if you have some to add at the answer. How should the Italian market be approached? I think AICEP has a word to say about it. No? Yeah.
Sorry, it was you directed some questions to me.
Yeah.
Yes, how should the Italian market be approached by the Portuguese companies?
Well, in this specific sector, I cannot tell you much because we deal with so many, and this is not one that we deal on a daily basis. But sure, the VicenzaOro, it's paramount to a strategy of entering the market, and I would also, I think, some kind of mission, commercial mission to Italy would be also welcomed. That's basically those two.
Okay, thank you.
And I would like to hear Max words on this question, and also I could connect with another question that some companies asked us, and it has to be to Studio Zeta, a studio that you are used to work with. Can you explain us how that works? And we know that is another form of approaching the market. And also, can you explain a little bit more how you have been working with the fashion industry and Portugal fashion for several years, and how come, for instance, you put Miguel Vieira brand on the board of Milan Fashion Week? Do you see that perhaps one jewelry brand could do that? Do you see also? Sorry, I'm I'm shooting you lots of questions, but do you see some way of working in together, kind of a boutique with clothes, shoes, and jewelry? Do you see this?
You have your microphone off.
Yes, sorry. So as I was telling before, you have great possibilities to emerge and to achieve excellent goals on your business. Of course, it's a combination between communication capability and scalability and others. As at the moment, in this moment, at least until September, we are trying different ways to achieve goals. For example, when we speak about the pret-a-porter, we are making pre-registered fashion shows and then broadcasting online during the fashion week. In terms of fairs and trade shows, they are promoting brands through the web, you know. But the showrooms, I mean, we have showrooms in Milan, for example. Studio Zeta is 3,500 meters squared. It's a huge structure where, I mean, it's very difficult. I can, maybe Marco could say something about. I've been hearing, for example, from the PT, they are focusing on a date to make the exhibition. The problem is how to convince the exhibitor to participate, since the exhibitor is not sure if there are going to be visitors. I don't know if you understand. The exhibitor. So the question is, I mean, in this moment where I wouldn't say exhibitions are fashion shows and exhibitions, because it's always, we always speak about putting people together. It's kind of a taboo. But I mean, I would say that the smaller spaces are less, how can I say, impressive in terms of safety, you know, in terms of being safe. Because when we speak about big exhibitions like ones in Paris, the ones we have in Florence, in Vicenza, and in Milan, as White and others, people are still a little bit scared to participate. I mean, l'adesione, to get the participation of the exhibitor, you know, I mean, then the exhibitor needs to be participated, because if they don't participate to the exhibition, they do not meet the visitors, and they do not promote their product. So what has been working quite well in the last, I wouldn't say in the last year, are smaller structures where there is, of course, you can receive people on appointments. You don't have all this flux of people, but things are a little bit more, how can I say, according to the request of,
the gender and targeted.
Yes. So showrooms are working in Italy. You know, the showrooms are working. Of course, we do not have the Chinese, the Japanese flying to Italy. I mean, there's not much international visitors in the showrooms, but the showrooms are working with the people that are traveling. You know, I mean, the French who are traveling to Italy. I mean, the Deutsch who are traveling to Italy. The German who are traveling to Italy. But I am traveling. I was in Paris 3 weeks ago. I was in Portugal 4 weeks ago. Of course, always for business. But I'm not only in Milan. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
But I mean that in the meantime, waiting for the reopening, the real reopening in safety of the exhibitions. Alternatively to that, we have the possibility of making business in not only online, you know, because online is, you don't feel fashion. I mean, the jewelry is a little bit more advantage on that, because I mean, you see the beauty of the article in a still life picture, in a product picture. But I mean, clothes are very, a shoe is also easy to buy online, you know, but you don't, by the time you don't really fit the shoe on your head, on your feet, by the time you don't really put the earring on your face and you look how you look with that, with the jewelry, commerce, I mean, is not the same. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, of
course.
So
what is happening, what I can for sure affirm is that showrooms are working. The Italian showrooms, Milan showrooms are very happy. Nevertheless, the situation is that tough, you know. Of course, who are suffering more are the exhibitions. VicenzaOro, White, PT, you know, which are the leaders of our in the segments. PT in Florence, Vicenza for the jewelry, and White for the Pret-a-Porter Milan. These are the ones that are suffering very, you know, in this moment. But the showrooms, big structures or medium structures, are working, because I mean, they work by appointment only, so they can how can I say, they can how can I say, they can filter, they can organize the flux, the flow in the spaces, you know. Hopefully, I mean, what the feedback I have for next to Milano Moda Uomo, which we already organized, and where Miguel Vieira has been participating in the official schedule, is that Camera Nazionale della Moda Italiana decided that for the moment they are still afraid to move on a physical event for June.
Okay.
They are not sure about September. They have hope September is going to be how can I say, it's going to be an edition where the physical is going to happen again. Hearing different organizations as PT, as others, they are just, you know, we are willing to this moment to happen, but only arriving closer to that moment, we are going to be sure. We are going to be sure. We cannot program things from here to September. Of course, we need at least to program, but one day to the other, things can change. You understand? So it's very complicated. It's really very complicated, but we are very close to a new beginning of a new chapter of the the COVID pandemic, you know. So this is the situation now.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, the time's up, and you have to end this webinar, but we can still hours and hours speaking about that, but unfortunately we can do this. So thank you all for your participation in this first E-Lapidar session of Foray Markets Italy. We would like to thank once again all the speakers who are here present, and Eduardo that have to go earlier. And I would like thanks again the AICEP for their support, and I will thanks for AORP for this invitation. It's a pleasure to be here and have this amazing conversation. So thank you.
Okay,
thank you, everyone.
Before I let you to put the button on the red end, I would like to tell to all the people that assisted to this webinar that our internationalization project has considered the Italian market. Our companies could exhibit at VicenzaOro with the support of the public funds, as we've been doing, and we will continue to do it. Also, we intend to support potential exhibitions at this new event in Dubai. We are very anxious for that. But also we are trying new approach, and that's one of the reasons that we invite Max Lind to talk a little bit more about other ways of entering the markets through, for instance, the showrooms. We are preparing something for our companies in that field. I think that every option is an option at this point. It has to, of course, be discussed with companies, and each company is different. But we do believe that working together is always better in affirming the Portuguese jewelry inside Portugal, but of course outside of it. So on behalf of the Portuguese Jewelry Association, I would love to thank you all for coming. Special word to Marco. It was incredible to hear you. I'm receiving a lot of messages in WhatsApp saying that you were amazing. And also Max, I do think that we have to talk a lot. I'm very anxious to know a lot more about the fashion world and how come our brands, mostly the fast fashion jewelry brands that are emerging here in Portugal, could have a way of going to Italy. And also, I would like to thank AICEP for this support. Want just to tell you that this one was our first webinar. The second one will be in 2 weeks about German market, and next about the Asian market. And until then, please stay safe, and we are counting on you on the next E-Lapidar. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Grazie.
Ciao everyone.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Buona-
Ciao.